Welcome back to the Corbellic studio. We're going to be knocking out another painting, doing a step-by-step walkthrough. This is going to be a really cool one. I'm excited. It's going to be a cat in a business suit. Like a fun cat, funky cat, colorful. I love colors, and we're just going to knock it out fast. When I say fast, I'm talking about 10, 12, at the most 15 minutes. That's just because I'm walking with you guys through the process. But normally when I'm by myself, I try to knock these out in like 7 to 10 minutes because that's where we find the happy mistakes at. As Bob Ross likes to say, shout out to Bob Ross. I mention him a lot, I guess because growing up, I used to watch Bob Ross with my grandmother. I think all of us did, right? I mean, most of us when we grew up in the 80s. But I'm going to do these happy mistakes, find what the painting is. It's already there. It gives us permission to do it. We all can do it. I implore you to do this. Please join along. Just get out an old projector or buy a cheap one for $30. We're here to help. I set everybody's account up so you can start making money as early as next week. I sold over 17,000 original paintings on eBay. So I'm the number one authority when it comes to setting everybody up, how to sell art while everybody else is waiting for sales or looking like, a top gallery artist on Instagram or social media. I'm here selling and I can help you do the same thing, even if you're not an artist, you have no experience or anything like that. But enough talking. Let's get into this funky cat and take care of business. All right. All right. So we're going to take care of this cat. We're going to take care of this top kitty right here. That's what we're going to call this one. This one's going to be Top Flight Kitty. And it's going to be a business suit. He's serious. He wants to go to work. I want to work with a cat like this when I was in my business days. I'm telling you, he would have been more cool to work with than some of the uptight people who I had in the business world. I would have dealt with this cool cat anytime. So what should we call this painting? Should it be Top Flight Kitty, Business Kitty? Right here, we're just adding in some background color. This one's going to be like a little bit of yellow, and then I'm going to cream it out with some white. I normally like to do this so that way the canvas isn't too dry. This is like my version of gesso. I like doing acrylic better than the gesso, and it's like two birds in one stone because I have an underwash underneath the painting. And then I like to soften it, whatever hard color that I use, I like to soften it a little bit with a white or a cream. So that way I'm also able to see the projector a little bit, whatever the image is. All right. And let's do this. Let's add a little bit of blue, but we're not going to blue the whole thing. We're just going to add like a little bit of tone to it, some accents, right? All right. I think that's good. Let me dry it off just a little bit. Business Kitty. Business Kitty. Yeah, that sounds good. All right. So we dried that off a little bit. Now we could just start having fun and we can get into Business Kitty. I always have a timer right here just so I can see where we're at with the time. But like I said, to find my happy mistakes, I try to work fast within 10 to 12 minutes at the most. So that way I can push the mistakes on here and then we can get some cool looks. But the longer that you take at times, people can tell that you're not confident in what you're doing, and it just really shows. Trust me, like I said, I've sold over 17,000 pieces of art. So I know what I'm talking about. There's different ways how to approach paintings. You can approach it any way. This isn't an art class, as I always say. I can't teach you how to paint or things that's going to come out of you. You could do that yourself. As long as you have a projector, you're free to play around with the proportions and the size. Everything is there for you. So then you're able to do whatever color you want, what funky style you want. I can't teach you that because that's all inside of you. Don't think about art class or any of that stuff. But what I like to do on, some paintings, not all the time, but whatever the dark colors are or the lining, I like to go over the lining with a black or maybe a blue or dark purple or something like that. That way I have at least what the lining is. Then I can punch it in with the colors, and it looks like the color is laying on top of the dark lines. So it's like already there. You're gonna see what I'm talking about. This is gonna be really cool. Check this out. So let's work this fast. I'm just taking a little bit of black right now with some baby blue or navy blue. And you can see right here where it's like this collar. So let's just work this fast. It always works out. That's what I love about art. It's like art is like a miracle because it always works out. Even when it's the ugliest painting and I'm like, man, I'm not happy with that, it always works out because at least A, I got it done, but B, somebody's gonna buy it and they're gonna appreciate it. And when they buy it, I'm telling you, the ugliest pieces, for some reason, they sell the most. And that's because you can't control the market. Stop trying to control things in your life. That's how you're going to continue your blessings, and things come to you. Things come to you because you're not trying to control it. You're either happy with whatever happens. And the only way that you can be happy with whatever happens in your life with not controlling things, as I call it in the eBay art community, I call it the lottery ticket effect. The lottery ticket effect means that the more that you try in life, the more numbers that you produce, the more that you don't care about the results, but the less that you have going on, the more that you care too much. So let's just say if I spent all day trying to do one canvas or two canvases, then I'm not really manifesting the best outcome in my life because I only have one lottery ticket. But if I'm pumping out 10 to 12 lottery tickets in 1 hour, I don't have to care about it that much. I'm not invested because one of those are going to hit. One of those lottery tickets are going to hit. Now, when it comes to eBay, I'm going to get you to a point where all of your artwork is going to sell. But some are going to sell higher than others, within hundreds of dollars or, $50 each. It could be between $30 and $200, but they're all going to sell. Because of the lottery ticket effect. This one, I'm going to go in the face with a lighter color. We're just going to do a lighter color. Now, since the cat has all these different lines in the face already, I don't want to add the lines in now. That would be ridiculous because then it's kind of like I have to paint through it. Instead, we're just going to do that's why it's best to work off of a projector because we can see the background color first. And then afterwards we can punch this in. Watch, you're going to see what I'm talking about if you don't get me. Like, we'll do this color now, right? Where's this color? Like a lighter face. Then let's take the blue. I don't know. A lot of times when I step up here, I'm still like, man, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. I hope it works out. It always works out though. It always works out. That's the cool part. But I'm telling you, when you're doing paint, it's a psychological trip because through the first half of the painting, you're like, I don't know if this painting's gonna work out. I still feel like that with most of the paintings. And then after we get done, and I'm gonna show you the end process of this, what it looks like at the end, and it's gonna be like, man, it worked. It actually did work out. He wasn't lying. I told you. I've been doing this for so long. It always works out. So you see how we're just doing these broad, confident strokes, even though right now it seems like we don't really have an idea of what we're doing? Because I don't. I'm just going off of what I see off of the projector, and We'll figure it out along the line. Now, this is a business kitty, so let's put him in his business suit, right? Like this will be a white collar. It's got a little bit of, let's do the collar over here too. Now, when it's got too much different paint on here, make sure you clean your paint from time to time as well. You don't want to mix up too much colors. I say that is one of the things that I would teach on here, not to be an art class, but that's one, I say that's my only lesson that I would say, is make sure that you clean your paint off of your brush from time to time, so that way it doesn't look muddy. You don't want it to look muddy. And when I say muddy, it's like too many of the colors look gray because you're mixing too much going on, instead of you cleaning off your brush to go into a new paint, color or a new paint palette. You don't want it to look too muddy. So don't do that to yourself. That would be the only lesson. You can do whatever you want, but just make sure that you're not being too muddy. If you're going to be working off of a color, then make sure that you're going back into that same color or something similar of the color in the area. Like right now, my brush has blue on it. I'm not gonna go really into a red right now or a white. I mean, it just depends. You just don't want to muddy it. You know, I don't know how to explain it. But you're smart. That's why you're here. So you know what I'm talking about. Look at that. It's already working out. It's already working out. I did not have any idea or faith in this for a minute. I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. Maybe I'm going to embarrass myself on camera. Oh no. No, I'm not worried about that. I'm telling you, I've been doing so many of these that I'm like past that. I built up the callus in my muscle now, where I don't have that issue. Let's do this as a white. And it doesn't have to be exactly whatever the projector is, or it doesn't have to be whatever the color reference that you're using either. You could use your own reference and you could use your own styling. So I'm going to go back into white on this one. This is like a little bit of whitish yellow orange. So that way I can brighten up the mouth area. Okay, that's fine. Now, that was the 1-inch brush that I was using. Now I'm just going to go in this time with a 1/2 inch. And we're going to go in for the nose. Put some little bit of red on the nose. And look, I'm just adding different colors, because we're still going to punch it up with black where the lines are at, right? Where it has its different kitty colors. And like I said, from time to time, you can always feel free to look at your reference, either if it's off of your computer or off of your phone. I have mine off of the laptop. And then I'm able to kind of just see a little bit of a reference. But, you know, I'm going to show you, for example, even if you don't want to look at the reference and it doesn't have to be exactly the mouth or something like that, you could create your own mouth. You could be abstract with it. Watch this. We're doing this together. I don't care. Watch this. You could do something like this, and people will still buy it because they're going to say that's different. Look at this. And that's how we're going to go with it. You know, we're just going to say, oh, it's not an exact cat, it's an expressionism cat. You know, then when we do this, we give ourselves to really be funky with it. And I'm telling you, you could do the same thing. Like if you're working on a painting and maybe you feel like it's getting away from you, or you have to do some type of detail, or maybe there's like, oh, there's certain type of detail I don't want to do, or anything, then just remove yourself from that detail and put something different in there. You know, you could put a heart wherever, or you could put anything, or you could even do a stick figure of it. Like if you don't want to draw out, like let's just say you had to do a bicycle thing. Instead of doing the bicycle, just do a stick figure of the bicycle. People love that type of stuff too because they get the idea of what you're doing as an artist. Like, look at that. You know it's a cat, but at the same point, it's something different. Now I'm going to put in the black lines, right, of where it's a cat, where it has the, let's see here, let's put in some whiskers, marks. That is a funky cat right there. I love it. I love art like this. I'd rather see this at a museum. Now let's put the lights back on and you can see our cat. I'm just going back to the reference photo just so I can see where I can have fun at, or different things that I would like to add. We're at 13 minutes right now. That's fine. I give myself a little bit of permission just because we're doing this together. So that's why it just takes me a little bit longer, just because we're filming this together. That's fine. But if I was doing this in a time lapse, as you see in my other videos, you can see where it doesn't take me that long. I knock these out because I'm just free flowing. I don't have to think about things that I'm talking about next, or points that I want to get off my chest. All right, let's add like a lip kind of thing where it's like red, rounded, right? Like that. That's so cool. Look at that cat. That's a funky kitty, man. All right, now the last thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to punch in a little bit of white, and then that's it. On the eye. I'm going to punch in some white on the mouth. And the hair, or the fur. I told you this was going to be really cool. People love their cats. But not only that, they love where cats are just different as well. People seen so many different cats before. But when yours is different, and we did this together, you know, like the idea, I didn't have to think about it long. It's just something that came up. Boom. What I would like to do as well, just to make it like it's classy, like because he's a business cat, right? Let's do like a border, a soft border, and then that's it. So I'm gonna do white. Soft border. Another white. In there. And that works for me. We're done. Let's add our signature, and then we could be on to the next one. That's how it works in the studio. Bam! Look at that. Huh? Tell me that's not cool. Tell me that's not cool. Look at that. We had fun. We did this together. Just laying it down, just having fun. You know, whatever comes to our mind. That's the cool thing about it. I could paint this again right now if I want to and actually make it into a different abstract cat, or make it into a different figure where it's like half of the face is also expressionism and it's abstract, and people will love it just because it's something different. It's authentic. It's you. We just seen what came out of the mistakes within that short amount of time, and that was that. So I'm gonna check you guys out on the next video, but there we go.